What is up, guys? And we are back with another video. And you guys can already tell by the title and thumbnail, we are gonna show some love to Chongyun today. I want to say about 99% of people that play Genshin Impact probably don't run Chongyun as a main DPS. Him being a Cryo Claymore users really holds him back in a lot of different scenarios, and that's because in most Cryo DPS comps, not including Ganyu, you're going to be running them in a freeze team. Because as you guys know, one of the most powerful comps in the game is going to be that freeze comp. And Chongyun being a Cryo character should be beneficial in a freeze comp, and he really is, but not as a main DPS. And that's because as soon as Chongyun hits a frozen enemy, they break out of the freeze. So you're not really getting that value from the freeze for that long. But on the other side, even though he breaks the freeze, he does get some shatter damage. And that's what we're going to be looking at today. We're going to be seeing if we can actually make a viable Chongyun Shatter DPS carry. And this is the team I'm going to be running. I'm going to be running Chongyun with Xingqiu for that perma freeze, but not really perma freeze because he's always going to be breaking it. And on top of that, we're going to be pairing him with Sucrose and Diona. The reason I'm doing Diona is because she provides a shield, she heals, and she's another Cryo character in order for me to get that Cryo Resonance. The reason we have Sucrose is because I get that 4-piece Viridescent Shred, that way my Cryo damage does more damage, and on top of that I get additional Elemental Mastery from Sucrose's passive talents. So let me go ahead and show you guys what my Chongyun build looks like right now. So as you guys can see, my attack is 1902, my crit rate and crit damage is pretty average, you know, it's nothing too crazy. 52% crit rate, 105% crit damage. What's really good is this Elemental Mastery, so I have 267 Elemental Mastery. And this is going to give me a 188% shatter damage bonus. In terms of my weapons, I'm running a Refinement 2 Wolf's Gravestone that's only level 70, and I'm running 2-piece Cryo as well as 2-piece Wanderer's Troop, and this is why my Elemental Mastery is so high. And on top of that, instead of having an attack percent cup, I have an Elemental Mastery cup. As far as my other pieces, I have Cryo bonus damage as well as crit rate. And when we test the numbers, we're going to be looking at it two different ways. We're going to be testing it with the Elemental Mastery cup, and then we're going to switch over to an attack percent cup, and we're going to see the difference in the damage. Usually when I do my showcase, I just do the first chamber of floor 12, but this time we're going to see if this team is actually viable and if Shatter DPS Chongyun can carry you through the entirety of floor 12. We're not trying to go for the fastest time or the fastest clear, we're just going to try to see if we can clear it. And the more stars we get, the better. Before we jump into that, let's go ahead and see the difference between Elemental Mastery and attack percent. So we do 1396 with shatter damage, but keep in mind guys that Ruin Guards have a high physical resistance, a 70% physical resistance, and shatter damage is a physical damage number. So this number is going to be a lot higher on other enemies, and we'll see that in the Abyss. But you guys can tell right now our Cryo damage does 8k with our E ability, and then our auto attacks do around 2k. Okay, I went ahead and switched to an attack percent piece, and you guys can tell right here, my attack went from 1900 to 2200, but my Elemental Mastery dropped all the way down to just 80. And this Elemental Mastery is only coming from our Wanderer's Troop set. So let's go ahead and start with our E ability. So 10k now, our E ability went from 8k to 10k. And our auto attacks go almost to 3k, so it's like a 700 increase in the auto attacks. So 783. So our shatter damage dropped a lot. Obviously, when we're running an attack percent cup, our Cryo damage is going to be a lot higher, but as you guys saw right there, our shatter damage basically cut in half. And keep in mind, we're fighting a Ruin Guard. Like I said, it has that physical resistance, so even though the numbers might seem small, it's a lot bigger when you're fighting a normal enemy, and you guys will see that in the Abyss. And also keep in mind, since our shatter damage is higher, it's going to kind of make up for the difference that we're losing out on our basic attacks. And at the same time, we're going to be running Sucrose, who's going to do Cryo Resistance Shred, and going to boost our Elemental Mastery. Okay, so now that we've seen all the numbers on paper, let's go ahead and see if this actually works in a real scenario, and we're going to try to completely clear floor 12. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, we're going to be running the same exact team. We're going to be running Chongyun, Xingqiu, Sucrose, and Diona. And also, in order to not inflate the numbers, we're going to be choosing cards that don't really improve our damage at all. So in this case, we'll just do increasing elemental resistance. So now you guys are going to see how much shatter damage actually does compared to Ruin Guards, because Ruin Guards have super high physical resistance, like I've said numerous times. So 4.3k right there, and this is with Sucrose, I believe. And again, this is what I mean. When you run main DPS Chongyun, he immediately breaks the freeze. Let's go ahead and get a shield going. But the cool thing about this team is like the energy recharge is really good because Chongyun has relatively good energy recharge. As you guys can see, his burst is already up. And the pro is, like, this guy has Electro, so when we hit him with Superconduct with Chongyun, he's going to be dealing increased shatter damage. So far this is looking like a breeze. I feel like we've used our burst numerous times. So yeah, our shattered damage goes all the way up to 5k, and again, this is just by himself. This is not with any swirl or anything. Okay, so chamber 2, we're also going to do something that doesn't increase our damage. We'll just do sprinting stamina. And this chamber is going to be annoying because there's going to be those flies that's going to freeze us, but we'll see how we do. And on top of that, we don't really have like huge AoE damage aside from Sucrose. So those flies like buzzing around are going to be kind of annoying, but you know, we'll see what happens. And also we can see how much our cryo damage, or shatter damage I mean, does now. Because these guys have Superconduct and we're getting our Diona, or not Diona, my Sucrose Elemental Mastery. So we're doing like 8.5k per shatter, which is actually pretty nuts if you guys think about it. Because before we were doing like 4k, and that's because the Geo Bishop just has higher resistances. We'll have to be careful there, but 8.5k per shatter is actually pretty crazy. Because it's basically like using Eula's auto attacks. You know how she does like 10k auto attacks? We're doing like 2k auto attacks plus 8.5k shatter, so it's like 10k auto attacks. And that's what I mean, like we're gonna keep getting frozen, which is kind of annoying, but you know, it is what it is. Can't really control it. This is what I mean by frozen. But hey, they're getting frozen back, so I guess it's fair. Plus our energy recharge on this floor is really good because there's like multiple enemies. And this is what I mean, like our cryo damage, even though we don't have an attack percent piece, we're still doing a decent amount of cryo damage, right? Yeah, so I feel like if we had bigger AoE damage, we would have done this floor a lot faster. It's because of these flies that we keep getting frozen. There's always going to be a downside to each team, and for this one, it's just these stupid flies. But even then, it wasn't that hard. Okay, so Chamber 3, this is going to be the actual challenge. Let's see if we can even get any stars on this floor, let alone beat it. And again, we're not choosing any cards that are boosting our damage. We'll just do like physical resistance because these guys don't even deal physical damage. And I'm curious to see how much shatter damage we can do on these guys because they're actually a lot stronger than before, or like all the other enemies. So I have no idea. Let's find out. 7k shatter, that's actually pretty good. And it's going to be awesome because when they get their Electro Shield, we're going to be able to trigger Superconduct. So we should be able to do more damage. Actually, we won't be able to freeze them, right? But I think even if we can't freeze them, we can still deal shatter damage, which is pretty cool. So you see 4k right there, like we're doing it basically every auto attack. The only thing is, like, it's only going to work when we have Xingqiu's burst up. So when his burst is down, it's not going to work as well. Oh man, I thought I had Sucrose out. That is like unfortunate. But yeah, like 6.6k shatter damage, 5.3k raw, like with no boost, which is pretty awesome. And I think I do a pretty good job right here in grouping them up, right? I just have to make sure my Chongyun doesn't die. I feel like I haven't even used my Diona's burst yet because it just keeps going away. And I have to also be careful because I remember when I was using Venti against these guys one time, like I actually did my burst in the corner and like it just launched it outside of the arena and it didn't even affect them. So having them in the corner is probably not the wisest idea, but I don't really know how to get them out of the corner. God, I keep clicking my E instead of holding it. It's kind of screwing me over. Sucrose, please. Or Diona, please give me your burst. I'm relying on it. Where are you? Okay, now we got the burst up. Let's go. Okay, so if we can get... You see how we're like swirling cryo right here? Oh man, we got Hydro instead. But if we got cryo right there, we would have like melted through this guy's shield. But because we're Chongyun, we can actually easily break his shield with his E ability. And we have Diona, so it's going to be even easier. So look at that, like we already cleared his shield. And again guys, we're not trying to go for the fastest time, we're just trying to beat this guy. But when he gets his shield up, it's actually a lot easier than you guys might think. So now we have to wait for this guy to transform. And honestly, like, we could do this so much faster if we like paired them together and stuff. But because we're Chongyun, we can easily break these guys' shields, which is pretty awesome. So for our first attempt, I think we killed it, right? Like, we cleared floor 12 with Shatter Chongyun. We found out that like Shatter damage does a good amount of damage, right? Like against these guys, we were doing upwards of 7k with Shatter, and then 5k with no buff, just Chongyun by himself. So there we go, guys. That was an 8-star clear with a fully 4-star team, a team that no one would probably use, and that being main DPS Chongyun, and not even regular main DPS Chongyun, a Shatter DPS Chongyun, and we made it work. And like I said at the beginning of the video, one of the best teams is going to be that freeze team, and since Chongyun breaks that freeze, he's really in like an awkward spot. But now with this elemental mastery buff, even though it might not be a huge buff to his shatter damage, it's still a pretty decent amount considering he can proc it really often. And unlike electrocharge and overload, there is no worry about who's procking the reaction. You know, it's not like it's inefficient. Like we saw with my Beidou video and just electrocharge in general, sometimes Xingqiu's procking the electrocharge, sometimes Beidou. But with Chongyun and Shatter, he's always going to be the one procking Shatter. And as long as your Xingqiu's burst is up and you're applying consistent hydro, you're basically going to be doing Shatter damage every auto attack. And since our auto attacks only do like 2 to 3k damage, an additional 5k to 7k damage is basically making us hit like 10k per auto attack, which is awesome. We're not trying to go for the most busted build, we're just trying to see if it works, and as you guys saw, it worked. We cleared floor 12. Yeah, we didn't get 9 stars, but I'm pretty sure if we go back, we can get at least 8, especially if we group up the Abyss Heralds together, which I did a bad job of, but you know, it's fine. The only elemental mastery I'm getting, this 187, is all from the main stat. I'm getting nothing from my substats. So my Chongyun artifacts are pretty bad considering what I'm trying to go for. But overall, that was really fun to do. I enjoyed it. Let me know what else you guys want to see. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.